Hello and welcome to Technology Moments, our recently created English YouTube channel for all of you guys whose native language is, of course, English, or who understand English more than Spanish, which is our native language. Today I'm going to bring you this review and impressions and sort of unboxing too of the Reddragon Kumara. It's a mechanical gaming keyboard, actually the cheapest you can find in Amazon that is really mechanical, because there are other keyboards that are cheaper but that claim to be mechanical, but they're not really truly mechanical. This is part of a new series of videos that we're going to be making around gaming peripherals, including, of course, keyboards. We're going to be testing some mice in the future, gaming mice, and also screens, which are also pretty cool. So stick around for that. You can subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I hope you enjoy this video. So at first, when we open and unbox this keyboard, we feel something while lifting the keyboard, and it's heavy. It's a really good thing that it's heavy, because usually it means it's made out of good materials, and in this case we really believe so. In the screen we're going to leave you with how much it weighs in pounds, and you can see that it's a lot, especially compared with membrane or non-mechanical keyboards, which usually are a lot lighter. Here's the cable, which is also very sturdy. It feels like it's you're getting like a premium kind of keyboard with all these materials being used, and how you feel that it's a good quality keyboard. This red thingy in the box is actually a tool for removing your keys when you want to clean the keyboard, or maybe when you want to replace a key in the future. Well, that's what this red thingy is for. So now we are just getting our first impressions, typing on it for the first time, and it's a really good impressions we get. These little legs in the back of the keyboard are actually have rubber feels, so it's really helpful if you've got a slippery table, so that the keyboard doesn't move even if you're typing strongly and vigorously. So now let's see what are my impressions after 2 months of use of this Reddragon Kumara. I have been pleasantly surprised by using a mechanical keyboard for the first time since I can remember. This may be my very first official one. This means that if someone is on the fence about getting or not a mechanical keyboard, I would encourage you to get one, because really you won't regret it. Its keys are very smooth, even with all the key travel they have. It doesn't really require any effort to press them. That being said, it does feel significantly different to type in one of these keyboards at first, but you get used to it pretty quickly, so it's nothing really traumatic here. Something to keep in mind when thinking of buying one of these is the noise while typing. It isn't a silent keyboard by any means. Here I'm going to let you listen for a bit how it sounds in a relatively silent environment. I know that this could be a deal breaker for some of you, especially if you are sharing your place with someone else. Regarding the number pad, I have to tell you I consciously bought a version of this Reddragon Kumara that came without it. If I have the number pad, I tend to use it and like it, of course, but it ultimately came down to two main factors. First, the space I've got for my keyboard and my mouse, and second, aesthetically, how it would look in my setup. So that's why I went for one that did not have the number pad. If you are interested, however, in a version of the Reddragon Kumara that does have a number pad, I'll leave you a link in the description, and so just so you know, it costs a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how the basic movement, the basic effects, and the basic layout of the keyboard works, and how it's at the same time simple yet very customizable, especially taking into account the price of this product. So in the top part we've got the escape button, the F buttons, and what we can see here already is a layer that a lot of keyboards out there have, but it's good that this has it too. For example, we've got in these little white icons, we've got like the shortcuts that get activated with the with the function FN button. So for example, the first one is the my PC shortcut, browse, calculator, media, previous clip and next clip, pause, stop. We've got mute, lower volume, increase volume, and the block button. What this does is actually really helpful for what I'm doing right now, that I'm going to activate it right now, which is actually blocking any input from the keyboard to actually display or actually do something in the PC. For example, I can type and nothing is happening in my PC. I can change and switch tabs and nothing's happening, which is quite useful, especially if you're just recording something or doing, well, in certain scenarios I think it might be helpful. Okay, so the following row we've got the numbers, but also where some of the effects, or at least the first part of the effects, happen, and it's that we've got obviously the usual things, the at, the numbers, the money, currency, whatever, percentage. But what I'm here most interested in and to show you is yet again, the white little icons that are below the numbers. So what are these for? These are for certain presets that we cannot edit, not at least the L1 to L8, the LR1 and LR2 we can edit, but the first 8 are actually some not presets, but rather shortcuts. Yes, they are some sort of shortcuts to certain layouts that Reddragon Kumara actually thinks that they are helpful. For me, they're not, but maybe for you they are, so I'm going to show it to you really quickly. The L1, they're all basically like game centered. Depending on the game, there's a setup. So L1 was just the ASDW plus the arrow keys and the escape. Nothing really fancy there, but there are others that usually use more buttons. There's one for League of Legends, there's one for Call of Duty, there's one for certain games. I don't think this is a good idea. I think that you might want to just personalize yours according to what you want to do, but it's good that they're there, and for some people it might be helpful. L4, L5, so you can see the layout for different types of games. I'm not going to go really into which games is which button, but you may figure it out if you recognize certain patterns. Okay, the next until L8, that's what you got. And it comes a little bit more interesting when you get to LR1 and LR2, because those are actually the ones you can customize to what you want the keyboard to light up at a certain point. For example, I've got the LR1 configured to just light up the whole keyboard, just like that. You cannot configure, however, an effect with the lighting. You just can configure the buttons that are going to light up. Okay, so keeping that in mind, I'm going to show you really quickly how to do it. So if you want to have an effect, say in LR1, you press the button, you function LR1. In your keyboard, it will just be completely off. Let's see, like in LR2, let's do the example with the LR2, like this. Once you've got that, you got to FN, home, and once these two little lights are blinking, at that point you know that it is working. Okay, so you start pressing the buttons that you want to have on while you have this preset activated. Okay, so for example, I'm just doing some random numbers and keys here, but in general speaking, you can customize it as much as you want. Once you're done, you just click, you just hit FN end, and it's saved to the LR button that you previously hit. In our case, it's LR2. You can see that if we go back to LR1, we will have my previous setup, which is just the whole keyboard lights up. And if we go to LR2, we've got the one that we just set up. Okay, so that's something that might be helpful for some people. We're gonna go back to LR1. The rest of the keyboard is just pretty much the US or the English standard distribution layout for the keystrokes, but I don't think there's something pretty special about it. But I just want to mention something that might be useful for some of you, which is the Windows button is actually blockable, which means that in some games you might have realized that you press the button without wanting to, and it actually activates Windows, and you might lose a fight, whatever, if you're in an FPS. So the Reddragon Kumara has actually a personalized button that you just press FN and the Windows keyboard, and it just doesn't work when you use it. Okay, so it's pretty helpful. Just thought to mention that because it's a small detail that might help a lot. And finally, on the right part is where the magic happens in terms of the real effects that we can see, especially for a product that is probably the cheapest mechanical gaming keyboard you can find. And those are the effects and also the brightness and the speed of that effect customization. So first, we hit Fn and this ins M button, which brings us to the first effect in the, I think it's 5 or 6 effects that there are in total. This one's pretty much just pretty simple, but actually at the same time it's quite comfortable to look at. It's not over long periods of time, of course, so it's not very overwhelming, but it's not also underwhelming. I really like this one and I might stick to it in the near future. However, if you don't like the speed or the brightness that the keys have, you can customize this with the keys, with these arrow keys. How do you do that? If you want the effect to be faster or slower, you press Fn and you press the right arrow for faster effect speed. You can see that it's now much quicker. And if you want it slower, of course, well, the left arrow just slows down the effect until a certain point, which this is like the slowest possible effect that you can have. That way you can actually feel like you're a little more in control, okay? That's the first effect. And also, if you don't like, let's go back to my preset, if you feel like the keyboard is way too bright for your very dark, dim lit environment, then you might want to decrease the brightness with the Fn and the down arrow key. Of course, this one's shut off, but the minimum is actually this one, which in my room at this point, well, it's actually quite dim, but for certain scenarios where you have really, really dark, like scenery, well, it might be better for your eyes. And you can have, there are like 5 different modes or different stages of brightness. That being said, it also applies to the effects, like it doesn't change the brightness of the effect, it's just all around the effect, and if it's in a preset or whatever, the brightness is going to still be the same. Okay, so the next effect is actually this sort of X sort of effect, which is also really, really cool. It maintains a dynamic lightning, and you can of course speed it up, which is, I think that's a little bit too much, or you can slow it down, of course. That can be cool too. And let's see the next effect. It's like some sort of snake game, and at the end it lights this keys out, which I don't know why. It might be because of a game layout, probably. And then it starts to like build a puzzle of the keys. I think that this one in the slowest mode, it's actually quite slow, so you can actually speed this one up so that it does the whole thing quite faster. Okay, so we go for the next effect. This is actually some sort of wave effect. We can decrease the speed, so this is more like a natural wavy effect. The next effect is this one. Oh, this one's actually, you have to press the buttons to see what's going on, so it's basically a wave effect, like when you press the button, all around the buttons all around it, like they have like a droplet effect, like a water droplet effect. So it's actually pretty cool when you press just one button, but I think it's a little bit crazy when you start typing. Is weird with this effect. So I don't know. It just, well, it depends. Some of you may like it. Let's see the next one. Okay, so that one was the last one, and this is actually the last effect, which is the same as what I've got customized in the LR1 button, which is all the keys just statically turned on without any effect going on. My conclusions regarding this product after actively using it for the past 2 months are just that I may not be able to go back to a non-mechanical keyboard anymore. The key travel experience in the day-to-day activities, as well as gaming of course, are on a whole nother level and just gives you more comfort while using your PC. The Reddragon Kumara's quality is notable from the get-go. As I mentioned before, when you pick it up, you feel the quality of its materials. The weight, the sturdiness, combined with the smoothness, durability, and light consistency across all keys make this a very good option to buy against the competition. because its price is just too good to beat. Here I'm leaving you two options, one without the number pad and the other with the number pad. Links are going to be in the description. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.